Hello students, we're going to start off with doing section 1 and section 2 for chapter 1. I know it seems like a lot, but section 1 is pretty quick. Section 1, where it starts off talking about science from curiosity. So science is just simply satisfying your curiosity. If you're curious about something, you can use science to help you understand it. Science and technology. Science and technology, though they go hand in hand, they do have different terms. Science is a system of knowledge and the methods used to find that knowledge. So how we find the knowledge that we're curious about. Technology is using that knowledge to solve practical problems. Both of these are interdependent, which means advances in one lead to advances in the other. So if we have an advance in technology, that can lead to advancing in science. Or if we have advances in science, that can lead to advances in technology. For example, we've over the years developed better technology for telescopes, and that has increased the advances in science in space science, because we've been able to see more out into outer space. Branches of science. Section 1 then goes into the branches of science. There are 3 branches of science. The first one is physical science. That is what you are in right now. You are in physical science. There are 2 main areas of physical science, and that is chemistry, which we'll be studying this semester, which is the study of composition, structure, properties, and reactions of matter. And then there is physics, which we'll do next semester. That's the study of matter and energy. The next branch of science is earth and space science, and that's what you studied last year. There's geology, which is the study of rocks, and astronomy, which is the study of outer space. Lastly, we have life science. That's what you looked at 7th grade if you're in the West Fargo School District, and there are lots of different life science. Here are just in a few examples. Anatomy, that's the study of like your bones and your muscles. And then biology is a little bit more diverse. It has the study of animals and plants. You can get a little bit more specific into biology as well. There's also ecology, which is the study of ecosystems. That is it for section 1, so we're going to move on to section 2. Scientific method. Starts with the scientific method. I'm sure you've heard about this before. This is just an organized plan for gathering, organizing, and communicating information. The goal of the scientific method is to solve a problem or to better understand an observed event. There are 5 steps to the scientific method. The first step is to make observations. Observations are anything you obtain through your senses. So what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you smell, or what you feel. And then you want to form a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a proposed answer to a question. Hypotheses are an if-then statement, and they need to be testable, and we'll work more with hypotheses in class. Scientific method. The next step of the scientific method is you want to test the hypothesis or experiment. When you're testing the hypothesis, you need to make sure you know what the independent variable is. That's the manipulated variable, and that's the variable that causes a change in another. The independent variable is the variable that the scientist changes. Then we have the dependent variable. This is the responding variable. This is the variable that changes in response to the manipulated variable. So it's changing because the independent variable is changing. We'll work more with those in class as well. And then we have a controlled experiment. Controlled experiment just means that you're only changing one variable, the independent variable, at a time. After you've tested the hypothesis, you want to draw conclusions. And then after you've drawn a lot of conclusions and your hypothesis has been supported many times, you can develop a theory. A theory is a well-tested explanation for a set of observations or experimental results. So looking at a flow chart of what we just said, on the next page will help tie these together. But more about the theory. theory can change when new evidence was provided. So it was once theorized that the Earth was flat. We now know that the Earth is round. So theories do change over time if new information is available. So looking at this flowchart, you can see you start up here with making an observation. So you make an observation first. After that, you form a hypothesis, and then you test that hypothesis. After that, you can analyze your data and draw conclusions. After that, when you analyze your data and draw conclusions, either two ways can happen. If your hypothesis is supported, then you will want to keep testing your hypothesis with further experiments so that eventually you can develop a theory. If your hypothesis is not supported, then you'll want to revise your hypothesis and form a new one, and then test again. Scientific laws. Scientific laws describe a pattern in nature based on observations and experiments. The main difference between scientific laws and theories is that theories change if new information is available. Laws don't change because laws basically are just describing a pattern. So the law of universal gravitation just basically is stating how objects are attracted to other objects. The pen is always going to fall to the floor. That's not going to change. Where theories attempt to explain why something's happening. And so they can change when new information is available. Lastly, we need to talk about scientific model. Scientific model is a representation of an object or an event. Scientific models make it easier for us to understand something we cannot see directly. So you might have a scientific model of the universe, so you can see the planets, because that's too big for us to see with our naked eye. Or you might have a scientific model of an atom or a cell, something that's too small for us to see. And that is it for today's notes.